page 16 has two different sections on it. We'll do 3 from the top and 2 from the bottom. Up here, we're combining like terms. And remember to put the terms in alphabetical order, and then the constant is always last. And be careful, they tried to trick you on here. Some of the terms that appear to be the same are actually not. Let's begin with number 6. There are 3 different terms, a squared, a, and the constant. The final order that we'll put these in will have the biggest exponent first. And so since we have an a with no exponent and an a with a squared exponent, we'll do the squared exponent first. If we had a cube or a power to the 4th, we would do 4th and then 3rd and then squared and then just the plain variable. In this case, we'll do a squared first. We have a squared plus 6a squared. That gives us 7a squared. Next, we'll do our a variable, 5a minus 7a. That would give us negative 2a. Finally, our constant, negative 3, negative 4, negative 7. 7a squared minus 2a minus 7. Now on to number 7. I chose number 7 because this one could be the most confusing. You have x squared y, and you have another xy squared. You might think that those are like terms, but they're not. Since this has the x squared and this has the y squared, they're considered different terms. So we'll add them up separately. We'll start with the x squared y, 6x squared y minus 4x squared y plus x squared y. And if it helps, you can put a 1 in front of that so you remember that's a 1. So we've got 6 minus 4 is 2 plus 1 is 3. So we have 3x squared y. And then we have 3xy squared minus 4x, nope, that's not it, 3xy squared minus 3xy squared. These are our only terms with xy squared, and they cancel out, so you have no xy squared. If you want to put plus 0, you can, but the simplest way to do it is just leave it blank. So your final simplified form is 3x squared y. Let's look at number 12. We have parentheses. Fortunately, both terms inside the parentheses can be added together, so we don't have to distribute. A plus 4a is 5a, and then inside this parentheses, we have 6a minus 10a, which gives us negative 4a. So, if I rewrite this, what I have so far is 5a minus 2 times negative 4a. And because this is a negative, I'm going to put it in parentheses to show multiplication. I always like to put negatives in parentheses. So I have 5a minus 2 times negative 4a. So I'll do multiplication first. 2 times negative 4a is negative 8a is positive 8a. So now I have 5a plus 8a. Did I say that negative 2 times negative 4a is positive 8? So, combine like terms, 5a plus 8a equals 13a. So in simplified form, number 12 is 13a. Let's go down to the bottom. It says to substitute to find the value. We're going to substitute 5 for a and negative 2 for b. I like to put negative integers in parentheses, and this already has parentheses. So I'm going to have a bigger set of parentheses for this. Watch what I do. So I'm going to put a is 5, and then b is negative 2. So I'm going to put negative 2 like that. So I've got my negative in a little small set of parentheses, and then I've got my original parentheses bigger because they're on the outside, and then I'll square the whole thing just like that. So I've got two operations to do. I've got multiplication inside the parentheses, and I have an exponent. You do inside parentheses before you do the exponent. So I'll do 5 times negative 2. That gives me negative 10. I'm going to put that negative in parentheses because that is what I'm squaring. I'm squaring the negative 10. Negative 10 times negative 10 is positive 100. Let's move on to a squared b squared. Looks similar. A is 5, so 5 squared times b, which is negative 2. I feel like this is going to be the same because a squared and b squared, this is a squared and b squared because they're both in parentheses. So we will do, we've got multiplication and exponents. Since this pair of parentheses does not have an operation inside of it, it's simply another way of showing multiplication. So 5 squared is 25 times negative 2 squared is positive 4, which gives us 100. There you go, page 16. When we finish the lesson, go back and finish the others. Let's move on to page 17. We'll look at the top part. You are writing the value. You've just got 4 different constants that you need to put together. They're positive and negative. And I just want to suggest to you that you use a strategy like this. I like to find all the positives first. My 2 positives are 6 and 4. They make 10. And then from that, I'm going to take away the negatives. -5 and -3 gives me -8. Now it's much simpler. 10 minus 8 is 2. So the value of all that is just 2. Now let's move on to the second part. You are simplifying by writing these in exponent form. This is super easy. You have in parentheses x squared y 1, 2, 3, 4 times. So all you have to do is write in parentheses x squared y 1, 2, 3, 4 to the 4th power. And they're all very similar to that, so if you can do that one, then you can do the rest. Finally, down to number 13, we are substituting A is 5 and B is -2. Seems familiar. I'll do 13 with you. A becomes 5. B is -2 plus 1. We do multiplication first. 5, -2 times -2 is +4 plus 1. 5 plus 4 is 9 plus 1 is 10. That's enough to get you through page 17 on your own. Now let's go to page 18. Page 18 begins with more substitution. This time we've got 3 different variables to substitute. We'll do the first 2 together. A times B plus C. I will substitute 4 for A. Oh, we've got the double parentheses again. I'm going to make a big parentheses. B is -2 plus C is -1. There. I made them a little bit exaggerated, but you know, I wanted to make sure you could see that they're bigger than the others. So inside the parentheses, you have -2 plus -1. That's -3. So I will rewrite this as 4 times -3. Four times -3 becomes -12. On to number 2. A is 4 times B is -2. I put negatives in parentheses plus A is 4, C is -1. Four times -2 is -8 plus 4 times -1 is -4. So basically I have -8 minus 4. That becomes -12. Let's move down to the middle part. We'll do one in the middle and then one on the bottom. The middle part is the distributive property. This should be a review, but just in case, since I don't get to see you, I'm gonna go and do one with you, just to be sure. So in the distributive property, we're gonna distribute the 3 to the x plus 1, because that's inside the parentheses. This is not inside the parentheses, so that final x does not get to be distributed. So 3 times x is 3x. 3 times 1 is 3 plus x. So we'll combine the like terms. We'll do the variable term first. 3x plus x is 4x plus 3, constant last. Move on to the bottom. As before, we have both an x squared and an x term. Those are not the same. We'll start with the exponent and then move to just the plain x and then the constant. So let's look at the x squared first. X squared plus x squared, that's 2x squared. Negative 7x plus 4x. That would be negative 3x. 4 plus 6 would be 10. So that gives us 2x squared minus 3x plus 10. Go back and finish 16, 17, and 18.